go.
Hi guys, how are you going? Look, I've got some signed affidavits from some claimants on a Fair Work hearing where they heard the Vice President say that the claimants should do as they're told or get another job, and they're not looking after my granddaughter if you're not vaccinated, sorry. Giving those prejudicial statements, is there any means for these claimants to actually be able to ask for a retrial? And because this particular Vice President went on to hear further Fair Work cases into the vaccine mandates.
I'm not aware of the circumstances that you've just raised, Senator. In terms of vaccination cases that essentially dismissal application of general protection, cases that come before the Commission that have an element to do with vaccinations, they're dealt with either via voluntary conciliation process. If they're not resolved through that, then they are allocated to members for determination. The members are independent statutory appointees. They make the decisions based on the merits of each case.
Okay, so
and then there's an appeal if the party to those decisions is unhappy essentially with the outcome of the decision, then they have a right of appeal.
And who do they appeal to? Other Fair Work commissioners, or
it'll essentially decisions in first instance of single members of the tribunal are appealed to full benches of the Commission in general terms.
Okay, because last time I asked you how do judges or Fair Work commissioners bring themselves up to speed on the science behind the vaccines, because as you know it's a new technology, and you said it's up to the claimants basically to present the science to the judges at the time. And I just want to quote another case here, Jovic Markovic versus Cooper's Brewery, where in the ruling the particular commissioner said that ATAGI is an expert body whose role is to provide evidence-based advice on the administration of the vaccines. In updates from September to December 2021, ATAGI stated that vaccination was an intervention to prevent infection, transmission and severe disease. Now, the problem with that statement is that I have a statement here from the FDA that said in December 20 that at this time data is not available to make a determination about how long the vaccine will provide protection, nor is there evidence that the vaccine prevents transmission of the SARS-CoV virus from person to person. And that was confirmed 2 weeks ago in the European Parliament, whereby a representative from Pfizer said that they never tested for prevention of transmission. So I guess yet again we've got a Fair Work Vice President here who has basically washed their hands of it and said we're going to rely on the experts. The experts, a number of who have conflicts of interest because they themselves work for universities that get paid by Big Pharma or receive money by Big Pharma. What's the point of having a Fair Work Commission if it isn't actually going to be independent from government and government bodies and actually take the advice of other expert witnesses?
Senator, I don't necessarily agree with the way that you've described my evidence when we've discussed this previously, but the matters that you've just raised, we actually dealt with them, as you'd be aware, on notice, where we provided a significant response. That question...
Well, you didn't provide this. I didn't ask you the question about the fact is that the FDA has said that there was never any evidence that the vaccine stopped transmission, and these mandates are based on the idea that it was going to stop transmission.
Once again, do you mind if I just return you back to the question on notice? The question on notice is EEC AE 22-046, and one of the number of things that it goes to, in essence, are the functions of the Fair Work Commission. In essence, what our roles and responsibilities conferred by the legislation are. And it also indicates that the Commission does not have general powers to deal with employment-related vaccination disputes and does not have the power to mandate vaccinations. But it goes into quite a lot of detail.
So who doesn't have the power to mandate vaccinations?
The Fair Work Commission, it's not one of our functions to mandate vaccinations.
So then why aren't you stopping companies from mandating vaccinations? I mean, isn't the whole point of Fair Work Australia to actually protect employees?
No, and the note, in terms of the question on notice, it contains the list of functions of the Commission. I'm very happy to go through those with you now.
Okay,
if you like
so where are employees going to go to get justice, right? Because I've got a database of 7,500 people who've been sacked because of the mandates, and of that, 407 were injured by the vaccine and subsequently sacked because, and when I say by the vaccine, by the first shot, and subsequently sacked because they didn't want to get a second shot. So they've both now been injured and sacked, and they have been trying to seek justice, and they're not getting it via the Fair Work Commission, who is just saying that these are fair and reasonable directions. Now, I fail to see how it's a reasonable, fair and direction for an employer to be able to tell an employee to take the risk of being injured when everybody has, different health issues. Some people have different allergies. To have a blanket mandated rule that says it's okay, that the employer can just dictate that you must get sacked, you must get vaccinated or you'll be sacked. How is that right? And if you can't get justice from the Fair Work Commission, who should these people try and get justice from?
Just to return to this question, I noticed from questions 4 to 8 that you asked, the Commission has no role in relation to common law damages or workers' compensation claims. And
Sorry, can you speak up? I can't hear you.
The Commission has no role in relation to common law damages or workers' compensation claims. And as you know, Senator, I can only talk about the functions and the activities of the Fair Work Commission.
Okay, so I'm confused here. So you're saying the Fair Work Commission has got no jurisdiction over mandates at all? Because a lot of people, there's lots of people going to Fair Work, have been spending a lot of time and effort and money on trying to get these mandates lifted via Fair Work Commission, and now you're not saying that the Fair Work Commission has no authority to actually override these mandates? And are they wasting their time? Is that what you're saying?
The functions of the Fair Work Commission, and we've received vaccination-related applications in relation to unfair dismissals. I might ask Ms. Carruthers to assist me here, but maybe some anti-bullying claims, certainly general termination
So these cases are around unfair dismissal as a result of the vaccine mandate?
Amongst others, there's some applications that have been made under dispute provisions, under the relevant industrial instrument as well. But in terms of volume, the vast majority were in relation to unfair dismissal applications. And as with all other dismissal applications that come before the Commission, they are dealt with initially by, depending on the circumstance, but as a general rule, by staff conciliation, where we bring the parties together and essentially conciliate.
Okay, so that's the process. I understand the process. My problem is with the outcome, that people are getting sacked, right, for exercising their right over body autonomy, number one, and number two, because they've been injured, and then they've been sacked, right? So where do these people go to get protection from, their employers or from the government, whoever's mandating this stuff? Where do they go to get protection? If you're not going to do it, if the Fair Work Commission, who I thought was responsible for protecting employees, where do they go?
Senator, I can only talk about the functions, the activities of the Fair Work Commission.
So you're not answering my question. Why aren't you answering my question here?
Because what I'm trying to make clear here, Senator, is that what I can talk to you about, what I can provide evidence on, are the functions, the activities of the Fair Work Commission. You're asking me where can people who have been injured from a WH&S perspective go to seek?
Oh, I'm talking about court cases where your own vice presidents have said they've called ATAGI the experts. I've just demonstrated to you that what ATAGI have said in their advice is completely wrong from the FDA, the source, the FDA who actually reviewed Pfizer, information unlike our own TGA, and where they said didn't stop transmission. I mean, these mandates are based on the whole fact that these vaccines were meant to stop transmission, and here we are, 10 months later with 11 or 12 million cases of COVID in less than a year. So clearly, we don't even need to rely on the FDA ruling, we can see it for ourselves. So why are these people wasting their time? Because you're washing your hands of it. So now answer me this then. Why are these people wasting their time and effort going through the Fair Work Commission if you're now saying that's not the role of the Fair Work Commission to actually hear these cases where they've been unfairly dismissed?
there's a lot of information on our website about, there's a lot of jurisprudence that's been established as we've dealt with vaccination-related dismissal applications. There's a lot of public information available. But in essence, the members of the tribunal who make these determinations, they're independent statutory office holders. They will assess the information that's available to them and they will make a determination based on that. I just want to reiterate that if a party to those proceedings is unhappy with the outcome, they can appeal the matter to a full bench of the Commission for it to be reviewed.
Is that
Senator
going to
Rennick,
cost them?
just be mindful, we're very close to time, and
Yeah,
I have to
thanks.
go to Senator Pocock, and I think Senator Roberts has a brief question as well.
So will that cost them money? Because these people are broke. They've been, some of them are injured and paid medical bills, and they have no income as well. So will that cost them money to then go back again to the full bench of the Fair Work Commission?
It depends on if they're self-represented or not and the legal fees associated with the representation. It's very difficult to talk about.
Okay. So just one last question. Can you give me the number of people who've made Fair Work claims under Fair Work Australia since the mandates were introduced around October last year, please?
Sorry, can I just clarify? The question is how many vaccination-related cases we've received?
Yes.
From what dates?
From let's say 1st of October 2021.
We have some information available that we can take that on notice.
Yeah, I'll take that on notice. Yeah, cheers, thank you.
Authorised G. Rennick, LNP Chermside.